The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop.
Hey y'all, Jacob Ledrup here.
Hey guys, Chuck Ritchie here, formerly of Bowl TV.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Schaefer of track staff at Valley Bowling Center in Waverly, New York.
And you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Yo, the boys from Straight Up 5, Rad Rob, Dr Ocho, and of course JP Jr.
As you know, JP Jr. used to be introduced as the sexiest man in bowling and now the world. But he doesn't have the best hair in the world. I do. Sorry, bud, but you know the deal. Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation.
Strike, and they claim it. Similarly does it.
So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Dr Ocho. Dr Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I am your... Why is this fucking thing bouncing so much? Jesus Christ. I am your host, Rad Rob, Rob Francois. And this is episode number 157. We have returning guest tonight. One is a 3-time and one is the first ever 4-time returning guest. We'll let you pick who that is. Let's look at the chat here. We got Nico Puhar, our resident statistician and reporter. What's going on, Nico? Staying man's in the house. What's going on, brother? Have I worked on Daria yet? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? Billy M's in the house. What's going on, Billy? I have not. I'm working on it, but yeah. Anyway, we got Pete Cow in the house. What's going on, Dave? Good to have you here. Welcome, everybody. I'm sure Chuck Ritchie, who will never be on the show, is here somewhere. But anyway, we have 2 very special guests. They've already been here plenty of times. So I don't have a highlight package. So it's you get one. That's it. You get one. You have your moment, and that's it. I got shit. I'm a dad. I got things to do. Let's introduce my first co-host. He is the man with the golden mask. He is the man with the closed pool. Hopefully that gets fixed this weekend. He is the house hack from Howell Lanes. He is the resident doctor of Straight Up 5, the only doctor we've ever had on the show, which is strange. 157 episodes. We haven't had anybody else with a doctorate on this show. That's it is what it is. He has the largest arms in bowling. I'm pretty sure it's accurate. The one and only Dr. Tiberius James T. Kirk Ocho III. What's going on, Och?
We haven't had another doctor on. Well, maybe because they don't just freaking willy-nilly hand out doctorates to people. So, how did that happen?
That's
sorry.
Fair. Sorry.
Sorry, the smart one rolled in again. Jacked and juicy as hell. Happy birthday, Nicole.
Happy birthday, Nicole.
You know, the lighting does suck here. I look like I haven't exercised in a long time, which is true. So come like 8:45 when I get the lights and the shadows, I'm going to start doing this again. We're going to look much better. So leave this out. Edit it out. I'll do a software drop. Rob will filibuster. We'll look for his neck. Rob, can you get choked out if you don't have a neck?
I don't know.
You
I'll
should
have to
be
go to
like
New
the
York City and
greatest
find
MMA
out.
fighter on planet Earth, then, because you literally can't. You have to only knee bars and arm locks and everything.
I'll have to create a ruckus on the New York City subway and see what happens.
Understood.
I do. Love it.
All right, let's get the show on the road.
Also on the show is the man with the name on the marquee. He is number 7 in your program, number 1 in your hearts, the sexiest man in the world, straight out of Jersey. Johnny Petraglia Jr. What's going on, brother?
Another day in paradise, bro. And I knew this was their 4th time on the show, hence the reason I'm rocking the 4 Crowns shirt.
See, this guy gets it. This guy right here, not this fucking guy over here. This guy gets it.
That's right. Ocho was filibustering so much that I didn't even get a chance to hear Nicole's happy birthday wishes.
He talks over everything.
I'm the one that said it.
He's Dr. Interrupted.
Playing that back for everybody to hear.
Yeah, sure. Here we go.
Hi, I'm super excited to be able to wish Ocho a happy birthday today.
Thanks, Johnny. That needed to happen.
Yeah, I needed to hear that too. Just get the mojo going.
You
Speaking of which, hey, Sperone's in the house. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, you'll be laughing when my fist is caving your teeth in, you little fucker.
Ocho, I think you look better with this lighting.
No, I don't.
What, natural?
I mean, I understand the gym lighting.
No, just shut up, okay? I ain't got time for that.
Ain't
Shadows and mirrors, man. You know how they are. You know how the gym funhouse mirrors are.
Yeah, they make me. I do.
I do too.
Gym mirrors are fun. I need one right now, immediately.
I have a funhouse mirror.
Funhouse mirror. I need a
there you
so
go.
bad. All right, Rob, let's go. We need a neck mirror for Rob.
All right, let's bring in our very special guest, PBA Pro Nate Garcia, PWBA Pro Elise Bolton. What up, y'all? Welcome back to the show. How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you guys?
Always great over here, bro. Great to see you as always.
We're always doing well. So Nate's been on 3 times, and of course Elise has to one-up him. She's been on 4 times because there was that one time on the cruise, the first time, that we'll never forget. We always remember our first time with Elise. So,
so do I.
No.
Very well done. Very well done. So what's been going on with y'all since we last spoke? Nate, we'll start with you, man. How'd your tour season go?
Not the greatest, but towards the end of the tour season, I learned a bunch, and I started to implement those things into my game. And it showed once I got home that I was bowling a lot better. So, and then, we carry on into this regional season, and just got off a 2nd place finish, lost to my buddy CJ. And yeah, it's just been really good so far. So can't complain. Tour season could have been a little bit better, but we have a couple more stops this year that we're going to, attack. And I think it's going to be really good.
What were the changes that you implemented, and did you find them throughout the course of the tour season?
Yeah, I had this tendency to where my body was kind of like locking up and not allowing, me to create the proper shapes. And at the Players, I was really proud of myself because I was able to fight through that, because game 1, I was fine. And then game 2 and 3, I was kind of like starting to feel that. And I'm like, oh, we're not going back down this route. And I fought really hard through it, and I got on the other side of it, and I actually made the first cut at the Players. It was just really, being comfortable with creating those steeper angles and being a lot slower. And, we got through that. And this past regional actually kind of showed that, because we bowled on Wolf, but we couldn't throw urethane the entire time. I was able to throw it through qualifying and through the 4 games of the Cashers, but they re-oil for the round robin match play, and within 2 games I was already in reactive, which is something I didn't do the entire weekend.
Which one's the Wolf?
And I was able to, be slower, I needed to, especially on 34 feet. And yeah, I'd say that so far so good, and we're working towards big stuff.
Good stuff, man. I heard somebody recently talk about. Can you guys still hear us? I don't know if they can. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
I think it's right.
Yep, we're good.
Okay, cool. I just heard somebody recently talking about this. How you have to go a little bit more left to right or right to left, depending on if you're righty or lefty, with a little bit softer ball speed. Whereas when I was coming out of college, everything was keep it in front of you. And it's now, it certainly seems like it's changing a little bit where it's now you can actually almost loop it a little bit more, almost similar to maybe spraying it on a house shot with softer ball speed back in the day, where you don't have to stay so closed in the front. But do you find that is making most of the patterns kind of almost irrelevant to some respect because certain guys suit them so much better than others in doing that?
I would definitely say so. That's definitely been a common trend on the national tour, is that it goes game one, maybe halfway through game two, you could kind of like do your own thing. And then game three comes around and everybody has to get left. Yeah, I don't remember a time where I've gotten left and actually was able to throw it very, very hard. Maybe at the players a little bit because there was a lot of friction. But other than that, like, it's always get left, throw it soft, create, a lot of angle. And that's just because also like the rev rate as well is so much higher than when I first went out on tour. And, and some of the patterns, the way they're shaped and how they get towards the later parts of the block where people will be throwing urethane or just the rev rate, it's always forcing people left. And the more angle you create, the softer your ball speed has to be in order for the ball to go through the pins.
Gotcha. Thanks for clearing that up. Dougie.
What up, Dougie? Shout outs to both Nate and JPJ.
Yeah,
Hope you all ready to bowl the 20K doubles in 2 months.
I'm bowling both sets of that. And I'm also bowling the Rep Your Set with Danielle Suffel, Bob Moran, Hansel Javier, and Steph Casey. I think that's the end of this month. So looking forward to seeing you, Dougie. Actually, I'm going to text you soon. I got to talk to you about something else too. But we always talk about Dougie on here, and what a great promoter, what a great tournament director. Just if you ever get a chance, guys, check out Dougie Vision and bowl one of his local events or any of his events. They're really, really fantastic. Elise, Rob.
They're definitely awesome.
It's your show, buddy. Go ahead.
What's going on with you with the PWBA full swing?
Yeah, it's going. I just finished the third event. I didn't bowl the first event. I'm just enjoying bowling right now, actually. I feel like for the first time. I know it sounds weird, but I feel like before I'd always put these expectations and I just went out there because I wanted to be out there just to be a professional. I feel like now I'm actually going out there and just enjoying actually throwing the ball down the lane. Because I haven't really talked a lot about it online, but I do have some personal stuff still going on. And I've, to put it lightly, I've spent almost every day for the last year and a half in a hospital taking care of my dad, and I have to drive an hour one way. So to fit practice and all that stuff into that, I kind of have just been, when I am able to go out and compete, it's more about just really just enjoying bowling. Because I can't expect to beat these girls out here that are so good when they're doing it for a living and they don't have all these other, I know everyone has stuff going on, but truly I've had so much going on that just being able to go out there and bowl has been a joy to me, to be honest. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
To tell you the truth, that's actually the best mindset you could possibly have. I wish we all did that all the time. It would save a lot of headaches, right, Nate?
Oh, yeah.
Well, clearly there's a perspective putting on there, too. It's like, well, I got this going on, so it's almost like this is the time I get to clear my mind instead of grinding and damaging my mind bowling. I don't mean it like that, but just trying to figure out the pattern, figure out the layouts, figure out what ball. It's like, all right, I took care of him. I'm going to do this for now. I'm going back to him later. Which one's your break,
That's kind of what it's been for me is I obviously have been able to practice a little bit here and there. And then I know people see our YouTube videos, but people that don't know all the behind the scenes and know that me and Nate do everything on our own, when we're filming those, I don't really get to practice, especially to the caliber that you need to be on the women's tour. The women's tour is just as hard as the men's tour at this point. I don't know if any of you guys saw the scores. It's you got to average 240, 250. It's not any easier for the women's side. So like you said, I'm just grateful to be able to take that break and go away actually be able to enjoy what I get to do for a living. And I'm still like bowling well. Like I'm not bowling bad, but again, to get those extra doubles and triples in the game is really the deciding factor now. So it's like trying to get that. You know, it's a different level. So, and I've been there. You know, I made a lot of cuts last year, but I definitely feel like last year I didn't enjoy it, even though I technically was like bowling better in terms of making the cuts. Again, I've only bowled 2 events, technically 4 if we count Cleveland being, you know, 3 different ones. But I feel like I didn't enjoy it as much, even though I was bowling better, because it was like a grind and I was like, had these expectations and I was going out there because I felt like I had to, versus this year I've just kind of been like, I can take whatever bowls I want. I know I'm going to bowl good. I have like a different mindset knowing that I can do it. I just kind of like right now, I'm in that, like if I bowl the US Open, I want to know I got the practice in, because the last 4 events went well as terms of like having good ball reaction, being mentally there. My spares were okay. So now it's like putting those little pieces together to get back to where I was when I was making the cuts and bowling to a higher standard, and the scores are even higher this year so far. So I think it's possible. It's just, I think it's better having that mindset of just kind of like a vacation, but I get to bowl during it.
It's a good way to look at it.
So how are you doing physically?
I feel like physically I'm doing better. I had a surgery that I feel like has helped me a little bit with some of the health issues I've had. My back is still an issue. It's one of those where I've talked to some surgeons and this and that, and they all kind of say the same thing, where it's just, you know, loss of water in those discs, and I can strengthen it around it. But it's one of those where I just have to learn to prepare, stretch, do all the things afterwards. But overall, I feel like I've been feeling better in the last month since I've had my surgery before Queens. So,
and when you do get to bowl, are you bowling well? Like, do you think you're kind of getting back into where you think you should be? Do you still have, I mean, we all have things to work on, but I mean, how's your game right now? Are you happy with it at least?
I'm happy in the direction it's going, because I will say, even though I bowled well last year, I still like look at stuff and I'm like, dang, like if I could even throw it as good as I do, like on some of my shots more consistently, like I've said before, like I know I'm a competitor and people will not be able to beat me just because of the mindset I'm able to get in. But that's what people don't understand sometimes with the pro level. It's being able to throw those really good shots 8 more times than the other people. So it's not whether I'm throwing it good or not, it's what's the difference between my really good shot and the shot that's errant. And that's where I'm still trying to figure that out and perfect that, with not having as much practice as I know some of these girls get to have. Especially since me and Nate, I know we talked about it a little bit, but like we travel an hour one way most of the time to practice. So we have to go in with a purpose and really take advantage of those times when we do get to throw shots on the lane to work on stuff.
Yeah, because, you know, not everybody could be like Johnny and throw a plastic ball and average 267 everywhere. Yeah. So that's why I got to practice at least 3 times a week.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's we all wish we could do that. I mean, I know I do. So
I did throw.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
For one game, and 9 count, strike 9 count. So I did pretty good.
So Nate, I know you had more of a limited schedule this year. We talked about it last time on the show. And we've had so many people on talk about how the grind is still there with the PTQs and all that. How did you feel this year? Like, was bowling less mentally better for you this year?
Can you rephrase that question?
All right.
Like less. I was a little confused.
Okay. No, you bowled a more limited schedule this year than you normally do. And you weren't grinding all the PTQs every week. Did you feel better mentally this year, or were you still worried that I'm bowling less tournaments? There's more emphasis for me needing the cash.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Anytime that I'm able to just lace them up and be able to bowl on the national tour, I do not take that moment for granted. I wasn't originally going to bowl a lot of the PTQs, and then how the schedule came out, like my personal schedule came out, and, you know, the guys that believed in me, I was able to bowl a little bit more. But in those moments when I was bowling the PTQs, I really didn't have stress on myself because I was throwing it okay. Like now that I look back on it, like I've gotten a lot better, and I would probably say like, no, it wasn't. But at the time I was throwing it pretty good. And I just knew that in that type of environment, it's 7 games. It's a sprint of who gets lined up the quickest. And, if you don't figure it out quicker, then you're not going to make the cut. And when I was able to bowl, main field events, that's where I was able to have the opportunity to shine. And I wasn't in a place of like stress. I'm like, awesome, I get to bowl. Like, this is great. Like, and if I don't bowl well, I get to go home and I get to work on that stuff and make up for whatever I was doing. I almost had a chance to make the chameleon cut in the World Series. I was very, very close. With 6 games to go, or whatever the second block was, I can't remember at this point. I was only 3 people out of the number, and I was in the cash number. And then I still bowled just as well, but they played a little bit different, and where my ball wasn't doing the exact same thing. And I was just behind on a couple adjustments, and I missed getting a check by like 30 or 40 pins. I can't remember. But, taking that, I was like, I'm happy with that. And then that propelled me to the players where I made a cut. Yes, I didn't get paid, but EJ Tackett missed that cut. So I'm like, that's a win in my book. That, I made a cut, and EJ was struggling, and he missed. And it wasn't the easiest cut to make. There was also a lot of pros that have made a couple shows or like are out there full time that missed that cut. So we were trending in the right direction. And to answer your question, like, I think this is probably the most stress-free that I've been bowling the national tour, thanks to my guys that believe in me, my sponsors that believe in me. And yeah, I was just able to enjoy it and not have that stress of like, this is my last dollar, that I'm bowling on. Luckily for me, there was tournaments right after the main ones that I could go right home and bowl, and it made up significantly for this tour. So, I've just been in a great place. And when you were talking about, Elise and stuff like that, how she was like, saying that she was just happy to bowl, I feel like I'm at that place right now. It's been a couple years that I've been fighting to like, prove myself or, just get back to a certain level that I know I can be. And right now, I'm in a place where I'm like, I'm just happy to bowl. I'm happy to be able to compete. Every tournament that I go bowl, it's not like very stressful. Like the only thing that's stressful is if I miss a spare, and we can fix that problem. But other than that, like it's just been a ride, and it's been really cool.
So, what are your plans for? I'm just haven't released the schedule yet, but do you plan on just kind of doing the same thing that you did this year and just see how it plays out, see where the events are, see what you're available for, and just go from there?
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of like how every year has been, is see what the schedule's doing and what we're going to bowl. Whatever fields that I am allowed to bowl in, I will most likely be there unless something comes up, like a couple times this year. But I will be doing that. I'm bowling as many regionals right now as possible. I'm really excited for those, not just in the South, but I get to go a couple different places to bowl a couple regionals. And yeah, we're actually going out of the country in a couple of weeks to go bowl a big event that we were to go bowl. So
it's funny for me because when he brought this up, I genuinely thought he would never like want to go, because after the Sweden trip, he looked at me, he's like, I'm never leaving Florida ever again, basically. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, okay, we finally got over that, and now we can get on a plane and go across the country again. So
where is this trip? Where are you going?
Yeah, we're going to Paris. We're bowling it's called, well, I don't want to butcher this, but it's some professional France bowlers tour. I think it's the bowling promotion or something like along those lines. And it's kind of like Lucky Larson kind of thing. It's not a professional title, but there is money up top. If you do make the finals, you're on live television in Paris. I don't want to quote or promise that I will be on TV, but there's like a portion of the event to where whatever pros are coming, I think they may showcase that on TV. So I may be able to be on TV already. I don't know. But I'm just going to bowl well enough to make the TV show, and we'll go from there, and I'll make sure to send you guys the link.
Better.
Yeah, we'll definitely want to check that out. I actually want to pose this question, and both of you can tackle it. We'll start with Nate first, because I don't think we've actually talked about this on the show. If you have a PBA National Tour card, what is the actual need for PTQs? I mean, it should be like, I don't want to say like the U.S. Open where anybody can bowl it, but if you have a touring card, you all should have to make the main field. PTQs should be maybe held just for the majors only, but every single week having to have a PTQ doesn't make sense to me. If you're a PBA member, you should already be able to bowl any PBA tournament.
So here,
I was going to say, I just want to speak to this really quick, because the same on the women's side, I don't know if I necessarily agree. And this is why I say this, is because obviously we're not members anymore, but I feel like the problem is with being a member of any organization when we're talking about bowling is that the average requirements are way too low when we're talking about house. So in the women's side, okay, and I'm talking strictly from, obviously most women that bowl, I don't want to say most women, but there's a lot of women that bowl in a house shot that can play up 10 in their high friction center, average 220. They come out on tour and they average 160, 170. That's fine. I get they need the experience, but what people don't understand, it does hurt the lane play. So when we get stuck with women who are unexperienced, when you're bowling, for a lot of money, you've spent all this time, it gets a little frustrating where sometimes, I don't think this happens as much on the men's side because of all the rev rate. Everyone kind of has rev rate, but you'll have the pairs where you're like, okay, I need a big game. And then you hit a pair where it's like no one played left of 20 because it's like girls that don't know what they're doing. I know it happens on the men's side a little bit more, but that's where I just don't agree with it. Where I'm like, there's got to be a way to get experience. But then to me, you have to raise the average requirement or require these people to bowl on a sport pattern or have some type of requirement to be considered a pro, because of that simple fact of lane play when you're out on the tour. Or on the guy side, I think it comes down to the urethane. You have guys who don't know what they're doing. They get lost and they just start throwing urethane, and you hit pairs that are just awful because some urethane all over the place because they were so lost. So that's the only thing I can say about that, because I see it a lot on the women's side where I feel bad for them too, because it's not that they can't get better and get there, but like they don't understand that. Like some of them had never bowled on a sport shot before they came out on tour. And I'm like, not that we don't want them there, but it makes it really hard when you're like, I spent all this money to come out here and you're following someone who doesn't know what they're doing, or you hit that pair. And it does get a little frustrating.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you a question on that, Elise. It's actually, I agree with you completely, but I want to bring up something that maybe you haven't answered to also. Do you think it's possible that, because I've been saying the same old story for a long time, that I think it's absurd that if you average 200 for 2 consecutive years, that you could bowl anything PBA related. I mean, I personally at this point think it's absurd that if you don't average at least 225 in 2 separate leagues, you should, or 220. You should average at least 220 to even have a chance to go sniff it. But that's neither here nor there. Do you think that if they raise the average, because again, the only people it's affecting is that individual player that may be below the cusp right now, do you think that they fear for the sake of the professional men's and women's tours that raising the average too high will eliminate a lot of money, will eliminate a lot of possible prospects of people that actually do come and try and bowl? Like, because you told how many more women or men average 225 or higher that haven't tried or are already trying the tour? Is there enough of that group of people?
See, so for us specifically, obviously for the men, they sell out. With the women, we've been selling out every event. And I would say there's a majority that there's still some people in there that are trying to get their feet wet. But I would say that if you took out those people that obviously still need time to get better, and like, I don't want to say they shouldn't be bowling, but again, we're at the highest level. That's like saying someone off of the tennis court should just be able to go play, the French Open just because they beat some good people.
It's like
one day.
AAA versus major leagues too. That's where I think it's a huge step up too.
So this is my thing to this is like, get better. I feel like if you force the people to go in, these girls and guys are going to actually try to go get better versus like, oh, I can throw it all, everywhere on a house shot, average 220. I feel like, yes, you might lose some, but there's going to be those girls and guys who step up to get better. And actually, I feel like it will propel the sport because then it actually makes people think about what it's like to be a pro versus like just saying they're a pro because they can bowl 220 on a house shot. Because to me, if you bowl 220 on a house shot, me and Nate talk about this all the time when it's not to like make fun of anyone, but when people are like, oh, I shot 700 at league, I'm like, that's, if you're in all brackets, that's dust. You're like, you literally lost everything if you're bowling at like a higher level, even at a house shot tournament. To me, like, especially on the women's tour, our scores are high. You have to average 215 at the bottom, and that's on those sport shots just to even sniff a check. So to me, like even on the women's side, you should be able to average 230 on a house shot, 235 in order to keep up with these women. And same thing on the men's side. I mean, in order to actually win, you got to be able to average 240 on a sports shot to even have a chance. So like, it's one of those where it's like, you don't want to push people out, but it's also like, if we want bowling to be looked at as a serious sport, you can't walk in and see people as sponsors who are like, well, if they can bowl, I can bowl. And I don't know if you guys saw that. There was a TikTok about that actually, where this guy saw like the low scoring of the PBA event. And the guy's like, they, you know, of course on the show, it shows they shot 180 to 190. And the guy's like, well, anyone can bowl if they can shoot that. You know, I feel like there's that
I think that
this was the origination of our show. Like when we used to talk about it, the house shot, the averages, people looking on TV and go, oh, I went to the bowling alley. I shot 230 today. I could do that. Go back 2 years ago before we were even doing the video. And we were talking about this stuff. And I was the advocate that's saying it's too damn easy. And they say, well, they want scoring. They got to have scoring in the bowling alley or else people aren't going to show up. Okay, then that's where you're on point. Make the average 220, 224, something. That's why. Like, because 200 is just stupid with all the play and how much room there is on a house shot. So that's how this whole. It's funny you guys are saying this now. It's 2 years ago. Go back, Rob, check the archives, do a software drop, and then make this shit happen. Because we have talked about this ad nauseum.
Well, dude, think about it. Like the pro aspect of it. Like for instance. I've had numerous people throughout my life. I'm sure you guys have too. Maybe not Ocho, but you've probably.
What does that mean?
You've probably had people come up to you at some point.
I do.
Wow, you're a really good bowler. Are you a pro? And then, like for me, I have said, you know, at some points in my life, you know what? I tried the pro tour for a year, or I've had my pro card. And then the next question they ask is, so how do you become a pro? And then I'll look up and then I'm like, do you bowl league? And they go, yeah, I bowl on Tuesday nights. I go, what's your average? They're like, I don't know. I'm like 203. I'm like, have you bowled that league more than 1 year in a row? He goes, yeah. I'm like, yeah, you're a pro if you want to be. Now just go pay your $99 for the initiation fee, and then you're $25 a month thereafter, whatever the hell it is.
FYI, you're right. No one's ever asked me, so you're right.
That's why it's a shame that the separation of the elite is so shitty like that, because like you would never ask A-Rod or at his time, or like Pete Alonso, hey, are you a pro baseball player?
That's my point.
Because they can do things that you can't do. So when the common spectator watches bowling and they're sitting there and they're saying, man, I could do what these guys are doing, that's the exact same thing as you sitting at a baseball game and watching the Mets and watching Lindor swinging a ball in the dirt and having the balls sitting on your couch to say, how could you swing at a pitch that bad? Because it's a 95-mile-an-hour slider coming in from one of the best arms in the history of Earth. That's why. And
this is how the big red wiffle bat theory came in.
Yeah, and in that split second the ball was traveling to the plate, it actually looked like a strike for about the first 30 feet of it. And in that split second, maybe he made a bad decision. Why don't you go try it? You don't really get that separation, but you have people like that in each sport, and it's just magnified in bowling because people already don't look at bowling like it is a sport. They looking at it like it's recreational, like, whoa, this guy takes this too seriously. He's like a pro or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't hear people talking about, I don't hear people making fun of professional dart players or professional billiard players. I mean, those are other games in a bowling center. Fuck those people. Sorry, ran over.
Again, the big red wiffle bat. Why did that get transferred off? This is the legit point of it. It's a big red wiffle bat. You're playing with it, and you're hitting home runs, but yet the other guy's hitting with the little slim slammer guy, and yet you guys are comparable. Like, this is, I see, how is it not comparable?
Because dude, the recreational player, the people that are saying I can do what a pro does, are the people that go and rent house shoes and throw plastic balls up the middle of the lane. Who will bowl? If they bowl 150, they'll bowl 150 on sport or a house shot.
Because they don't have a hat pattern or anything.
Exactly. What did Dougie say? You remove those people, then the next complaint will be about how shit the prize funds are. Exactly. There's always going to be the endless vicious cycle. We know that at this point.
Nate, what's your take on that?
The only reason the prize funds are bad is because we don't have sponsors.
True.
And now if we get our sport to a place, pickleball has happened where it's like, you know, pickleball is for everyone now, but they have sponsors and they're on TV. It's like, if we can get bowling to that spot, it won't matter if we have 40 guys or girls on tour.
Meanwhile,
like, there's money to be made.
Real quick, pickleball. Like the most popular sport in the world. It's a sport for everybody that's not athletic enough to play tennis. And it's the greatest thing in the world.
Right.
Meanwhile, they make fun of bowling. All right, continue. I'll be right back.
Well, my point is people practice for pickleball, but it's like, to me at the highest level, I mean, I hear it all the time, and it drives me up a wall because it's just not the type of person I am. Even if you didn't have to practice at all for bowling, like, I enjoy the process of like getting better and seeing stuff. Like, there's a lot of people in our sport on both sides that will just be like, yeah, I don't practice and I come out here on tour and then this and that. And it's like, how does that look to someone who doesn't? Like, you're a professional and you're just like, yeah, I don't practice. Like, okay, cool if you don't, but like, how does that look to sponsors? And you say you're a professional athlete when you're basically saying like, you don't care enough to try. Why would someone else care about what you're doing?
You're absolutely right about that. See, we'll get to Nate in a second, but the reason why I brought it up is because of the fact that there are so many talented guys like Nate and many others that would probably do better in a regular format, bowling, 30 something games the first round and having a chance to make mistakes or having a chance to at least get their game without having to worry about like, oh fuck, I only got 7 games, whatever. I have to be on, and it's super stressful. But how many more people like Boog, and the others that we saw this year and last year would make it if they had the chance to bowl more games? And that's to me what the whole point is. And especially if you are a professional bowler, you shouldn't have to jump through fucking hoops to bowl the rest of the gang. So that's really the reason why I brought it up. And I do understand, Elise, you made great points about. I think sport bowling should be a requirement. I don't think you should just take a house hack like Ocho and let him be on the tour. No offense, Ocho. I'm just saying. And maybe use the regional tour as a feeder system. Use the PBA league as a feeder system. There's so many different ways that you could get quality bowlers to the national tour and not have them fucking just jump through hoops, to make the main field. It's not fair to me.
There also needs to be a requirement. Sorry, before you say something about, because I know he doesn't like to speak on it because it's like it looks bad for him. But I don't think that a guy who won a title, just one title, I think even if you have one title, you shouldn't just be able to finish last every single week and still for 10 years be. I know that sounds so bad, but if you are that good and you have titles, at any point you should be able to still bowl decent and bowl for your spot. That's all I have. I feel like the title thing is what makes it hard. Is Nate could win one title and then go finish last and be in every event for the next 10 years. I don't agree.
Well, they used to do that for the Tournament of Champions. The field was limited to 63 players, and you were always welcome back to the Tournament of Champions as long as you were one of the past winners that are included in it, or the all-timers or the Hall of Famers.
Right.
Yeah. Event. Now it's the whole tour. You can win once and you're good. You can literally finish last, not even be close to top 30, 40, and just get to bowl and come out and pay your money. And I don't think that's fair.
I don't agree with that either. It's just like, some of the greatest hitters in baseball, they go cold, and guess what? They get dropped to the minors. They get traded to a different team. You are only as good as if you're performing and your worth. And if you don't have it, then it's like there's a million other people that want that spot and are working harder to get it. So I understand that for sure.
Nate, I'm dying to hear what you're thinking.
100%. Yeah, so to answer your first question about if you have a PBA National Touring card, literally anybody can buy that. All it is a full membership. So if you average 200 in league, you can be considered a full-time PBA member. That's where I disagree that not everybody should be allowed to bowl the national tour. Patrick, he was in the chat earlier, and he said something along the lines of you do have to support the regional system, maybe even win on the regional tour in order to bowl the national events. And I agree with that. I think that's very smart because there is one thing that I think everybody forgets about is that the regional tour funds the national tour. It's like maybe not directly, but you see how many regional events we have per year, whether it's in one region or all the regions. Like we have like 12 events, and then all the other regions have events. I'm sure that it adds up to anywhere close to about 100 events. All those events, people are paying entries. Maybe that doesn't go directly into, the prize funds and stuff like that, but that's probably I'm not speculating or saying that is one thing or another, but we have a bunch of PBA regional events, and that's going to help the national tour. Obviously the sponsors do help, but there's a way, there has to be a way that you pay your employees, which they do. They pay the tournament directors for running them. And then the PBA has to see some type of money. And people do downplay winning a regional title, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Nobody views a PBA regional title as something special anymore. I'm not saying it's the same as a national title, but you're still competing against those national guys in fields in order to win an event. And people just kind of downplay it oh yeah, you won a regional. I get if you say that for a non-champs, because nobody that has a name is at a non-champs, but winning regional titles is not easy, especially if you're in the central region. I think that the South is the third best, but you have the central and you have the Southwest that are the top two that I think is the hardest to win regional titles. And there are guys like Dio Bernard and Eric Jones and Sean Maldonado that continuously win, Nathan Bora, that continuously win down there. And it's really impressive. And that goes for all of the regions. But I think that you should be on the national tour if you at least have one regional title, because you can at least keep up with people in that field that bowl the national tour for a living. And I think that should be the requirement to bowl on the national tour. If not, you do have to bowl PTQs. You have to find a way, or you might, for special occasions like Zach Wilkins, he has made shows, he hasn't won a regional title yet, but he can show that he can play. And that's a person that I would be okay with, okay, you have an exemption to bowl on the national tour or whatever. But I just think that the way we're going about it with PTQs and tour trials, I don't think that it's the way to go. I'm not going to speak on what I think those are, but I don't think that it's the way to go in order to grow our sport. I do think that the average cap should be higher to be a professional, because that only makes sense. You have all of these house hack heroes saying, oh yeah, I average 230, 240, 250 on house. I'm like, okay, you want to bowl on a harder pattern? Do you want to bowl you want to bowl a regional? And you never see them at a regional. You never see them, get their card. You never see them try to go bowl anything. They are okay with being comfortable in their environment. So it's not made for everybody. There are several people in the regional tour that just buy a card. I kid you not. There's somebody that I know that bought their card just to not be on the wait list for a regional and not miss out.
Wow.
And I don't think personally that they're ready for that to bowl on the regional tour, because I think there's levels to this, just like professional basketball, any other sport. You have, the little league, the minor league, the G League, and then you step up and you can go professional, or you can compete with those guys. I think that there is a stair step that we need to go about when it comes to, being a professional bowler. It shouldn't just be as easy as you average 200. I think that the only reason that average is like that, one, it's a little outdated, but 2, the PBA doesn't want to exclude everyone, because at the end of it, we are paying a monthly membership, and if you times that monthly membership by X amount of members, then that's more money for them. If they were to, bring it down a little bit, I think it hurts a little bit of the membership and them seeing a little bit of revenue coming back. But at the end of the day, those people that average like 200 in league, or, just get their card, they're only going to, and I mean this respectfully, they're only going to donate so many times before they just drop it and go back to bowling, like, whatever local handicap event that they're going to go bowl, because they're going to realize that they can't bowl the TAT, they can't, bowl TMBA, they can't bowl X whatever. And they're going to be like, well, I have no way of making money now. So I have to drop my card and I have to wait, and I can't compete with these guys on the regional level. And that's it. So I do think that they should raise it, because being a professional is not for everybody, but I understand that they're still trying to make money off of their members. That's just like with anything. If bowling was as popular as it used to be, or is as popular as like golf, where you pay a pro membership or something like that, I can't, I'm not very experienced on, paying memberships and stuff or whatever. I know basketball and baseball don't have one to be a pro. That there's a draft process for that. Maybe bowling will get there one day, but the way that we have to pay our memberships and stuff, I don't think it's for everybody.
I love how you both have unique viewpoints when it comes to it, but pretty much we all agree on the same thing. And both of you made fantastic points. I do believe that the 200 is completely outdated, especially with the inception of the house pattern. The last 10 years or so, it's really come to prominence where you go on Facebook and everyone's throwing 300. I'm thinking of just getting back in the game just so I can finally throw 300 myself. Like, that's how easy the house shut is now. So it's Ocho had to step out and do daddy duty. Literally. Johnny, what are your thoughts? You've been around a long time, brother. You've seen pretty much, the last 3 eras of bowling and how much it has changed. And what do you think the PBA needs to do to kind of update themselves and maybe reinvent themselves?
It's always money, bro. To me, it's always money. The biggest problem about it is most sports, if there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, everything is worth it. People will try their hearts out to make it to the show in Major League Baseball. Kids will donate their entire lives at a young age to weightlifting, stunting their growth, getting mixed up with anabolic steroids just to be big enough to be a defensive lineman in the NFL. Doesn't matter if they retire at 40, because they'll be millionaires by then. There's incentive, especially if you have enough money, to get good at golf. Because if you can shoot par every round you step on a golf course, you're a millionaire for the rest of your life. So for me, the athletic tribes, so to speak, that get the biggest shaft, gymnasts. I always think about gymnasts for start, because if you're not the top 0.5% in the world, your entire life is dedicated to that craft, and you could get to the end of it with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Another one is competitive bodybuilding. If you're not a genetic freak with a psychotic mentality and consistency in the gym and eating the same thing every day, never having a cheat meal, never going to a barbecue, just living a sheltered life where it's you, sleep, training, and the same food every day for your life. If you're the top 1% in the world, you can get on that Olympia stage and win $250,000. If you're not, your entire life is dedicated to making your body unhealthy, as much as people want to believe bodybuilding is healthy for you. And then the third one is something like bowling, where a regional event, you're going to go and commit yourself to regionals for an entire season, spending every single weekend, paying the $300 entry fee, the $200, $300 in hotel fees, depending on how far it is, the money in gas and expenses and food just to get to and from, competing against the best PBA bowlers in that region of the country to hopefully win $2,500 at the end, which sometimes doesn't even cover the cost of the trip. just to have the chance to get out on the PBA Tour, where if you're not in the top 8 in money, you're better off going to get a job flipping burgers at McDonald's for your paycheck and your medical that you get. That's my big problem with bowling, is everybody in the world loved Tiger Woods. Everybody. So everybody started playing golf. But everybody really started playing golf when everybody in golf started making money. You know, everybody loved Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer, right? But nobody really knew about that many other golfers. Now everybody in golf is famous because everybody is just rich. And I know it sounds like money is the root of all evil in this for me when it comes to professional bowling, because there's way too many talented individuals out there who deserve so much more than they get from our sport. That's my view.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you took it to another level, and it really put things in perspective. To kind of add on to that, I feel like bowling, in a way, professional bowling needs a fresh start. We've been doing a lot of the same things over and over again when it's in direct correlation with promotion. I don't think that as players we do a fantastic job on social media. There are outliers. You know, there are people that have social media presence. But the reason that they have those presence is because they're different. They're doing something different. They're putting themselves out there, whether it's how they throw it, whether it's how they interact with people, whether it's how they make bowling balls look. You know, two-handers, like, luckily for us, like, we've been very blessed with a channel that has grown to what it has grown to today, and hopefully more. But that's because we're doing something different. There are people that are more famous than I am, but I don't see them getting stopped in a bowling center and be like, oh my gosh, like, hello, like, I know who you are. I watch your channel. Sure. And I never take for granted those moments, because that was me to Walter Ray. That was me to Parker Bone. That was me to the people that I looked up to, and they never turned me away. So I would never do that to somebody else. And I'm not saying that I'm famous, but for that to be a full circle moment for me is pretty special. And I think that all players need to invest in themselves, not just on the lanes, but off the lanes as well, and how they promote themselves. You see what LeBron James is doing. I know he's a basketball player, but he has millions and millions of dollars, but he's finding ways to be a trend. You know, that Taco Tuesday thing, like, he was either during COVID or right after COVID, like Taco Tuesday wasn't a thing. And then LeBron James did it a couple times, and everybody started saying it, and everybody started having tacos on Tuesday. And that was like a trend. And I just think that we need to do things as players in order to get, you know, more sponsors, whether it's for ourselves or for the PBA, more eyes on, you know, the sport itself. Like, that's why Elise is successful. And I'm not just blowing her up because, you know, she's my wife. She's done something completely different that isn't being done in the bowling industry. And she has all of these followers following her that really like her because she's a nice person and she takes the time to talk to people. And what she's doing online is very different than everybody else. And that's how she gained a bunch of followers and stuff like that. And people watch her. You know, there's a lot of professional bowlers that are very, very successful, and not a lot of people watch them because whether, you know, they're not a people person or they're not doing something different on social media, and social media is the way to go right now. So I think if the PBA did something like that, it would probably, like, propel them in a different way as well.
You could almost relate it to, like, it's the new age way of selling a bowling ball, whereas, like, people, when Walter Ray would make TV every week, it didn't really matter what ball Walter Ray was throwing. I'm going back to, like, the mid-'90s when resin first came out, and it was the huge craze, and people would watch bowling on ABC and then go out and buy a bowling ball, like the new one of that year. And it's like, it didn't matter how many shows Walter Ray made throwing that friggin' Helix Quantum, because they didn't sell that well. But if Robert Smith made one television one television show throwing a Thunder Road, everybody bought a Thunder Road. Now,
right, he was different.
Right. And nowadays, it's, you need to do something that appeals to the viewer on more than just the one spectrum of bowling. That's why on this show, we're a little off the wall. We're a little more aggressive in the way we talk. We try and bounce off and use different walks of life to relate to our sport. We're trying to come off the beaten path while also giving people, like you said, at least what you do, where you actually give the time of day to the people that are following you, that are into what you're offering to the table. I like one kid, I forgot his name and I'm embarrassed about it, but there's two people I actually follow on social media. And again, I'm a successful bowler. I'm not one of the best in the world, but I can hold my own in a lot of bowling alleys. But I like watching, I think she goes by Sarah Bowles is one. And then I really like watching, I think the kids' channel is called The Hype. Maybe it's
Yeah.
And I like watching both of those because like I'll watch Sarah and I'm like, first I'll say, I wonder which way her follow through is going this time. But then I also like the rawness of her videos. And then I like watching him. Well, I don't know his name. I like watching.
Carlos.
What is it?
Carlos.
Gotcha. I still didn't hear you. I'm just going to say Carlos. Oh,
Charles.
Charles. I like what Charles does because he's not biased towards any company. He just talks about what you see and, he flags the head pin, he goes through the face, it. And I think that's real raw footage, which I've always appreciated in my social media content. So everybody's different, but if you got something that people like, stick with it.
Right.
Well, like to put it in perspective, and this isn't like me calling anyone out or just like what Nate said, it's just like how the world is right now. Like I had the newest Brunswick balls and I went out to the tour stop and some of the girls were really mad that I had them and I was the talk of the town and I found out, that everyone was like talking about it. And I was like, not to be rude, but like we're on Bull TV. Those are the people that are already seeing the bowling balls in every other respect of our industry. But I'm like, do these girls think that just coming out here and bowling the tour stop, they're selling bowling balls, even if they have multiple titles? Sadly, like that doesn't really relate to sales, especially in the professional side nowadays. Like it's all about social media. Like you were just saying, like Sarah Bowles could probably sell more bowling balls than some of the girls on tour just because she has that relationship with people online where they're customers that might not be watching Bull TV or, watching the professional shows, because you get way more views from a 7-second reel on Facebook, TikTok, or whatever than we do bowling for a professional title. And I felt bad because I didn't want to be rude, but I'm like, I can market a ball, even if I threw it like shit, to anyone online more than these girls that have multiple titles. And that's not to disrespect them, but that's just the reality of how the world is. And, I don't take that lightly either. I'm very lucky that I get to work with the companies who allow me to be myself, which is why I went free agent, even with like Turbo and stuff. Like, I'm very lucky that there are companies out there in our industry who are seeing like it's better to have individuals, and it doesn't matter if you have a million titles, like you're just as valuable as are people that have titles who just want to bowl and don't want to be online.
At the end of the day, you're not discrediting those people that have titles, but you are just as important to the company because you're doing the one thing that keeps them in business, and that is to sell bowling balls.
Yeah. Which used to be like when we were making shows, when there was live national television, like even on the men's side, when we had all those shows with millions and millions of views, yes, that is just as important, but it's just not like that anymore. Especially for the women. We can't expect to sell bowling balls when we are just selling to people already in the industry on Bull TV. Right. You're not customers, which is what we need.
Correct.
Ocho has been talking about this for a while about why aren't bowlers on X? Why aren't they on Instagram as much? Why aren't they on TikTok? Ocho has been a big proponent of that because you're right. Somebody else said it in here, like outside of a bowling alley, nobody knows who half these people are unless you're lucky enough to be a Belmo or or somebody like Norm Duke or Pete Weber that's been around, and have been successful. Nate, why do you think bowlers don't do that? You're essentially your own independent contractor. You are your business, your face, your name. That is your intellectual property. Why would you not want to promote yourself and try to grow your sport?
And before you answer that, did anybody think that Nate was going to grab her around the neck with that freaking cord before? Like, I got panicky. How come nobody has any tactile awareness, man?
I do.
You have to be you have to be aware. He literally got up and was motioning right around her. And then, I'm just
Even
gonna
gave it like the.
I'm panicking here.
The garrote from
I'm like,
Hitman.
maybe we got a great show going on, but I don't want
Everybody-
to just okay. So good. I'm not the only one. All right, go.
Everybody has a
Where do you see
different
the
taste in
replay? I'm
entertainment.
telling you.
Oh my god.
I'm not gonna reveal.
And
all
by the
my
way, that's the
secrets, but
slowest
everybody
ceiling fan I ever saw. It's literally going at like, why is it only like?
I don't know what that's
It's
doing.
it's doing nothing. Well, that's the other thing. Is the electrician not there?
Not
Did he
doing
unplug
nothing.
it to try and choke you, and that's why the ceiling fan don't work? I'm panicking over here.
It's still going.
If you want, I could.
All right, Rob, get back to it.
No.
X.
The air vent. Hold on. Right.
So it's off and the air vent's blowing it. Okay.
That must
Air
feel
Force
so good.
That's
Mine's okay.
To answer
This
your
looks like
question,
my teammate's ball speed.
A lot of the pros nowadays, I would say most of the fields is around the age of around like 25 to 40-ish, like, and some of the guys that are still around, like Bill, Tommy, Chris, like all those guys. It could be over the age of 40, like 45, 50. That age gap, we didn't have social media growing up. Like, I didn't have, like, Facebook wasn't introduced till whatever year in 2000. I'm 30 years old. I got a Facebook around, like, I don't know, 2008, 2009, something like that. I don't know. It was like whenever I was in high school, I made that. And obviously a lot of guys are older, so we saw Facebook in a way different way than what people see Facebook now. Instagram was introduced like in my later years of high school. Snapchat was introduced when I was in college. So all of these things that are happening now with social media, like, we weren't born into that like the younger generation was, like, you know, CJ, Eric Jones, Dio Bernard, like the younger guys coming up, like Cam Crow. They've had, and I'm not saying these guys are like, you know, successful in social media. Like, I'm sure like they all have work on social media, but like those are the guys that I think that are in that age group. We didn't grow up with that, and there wasn't a lot of like promotion on social media like when we were growing up. Some people adapt, some people don't. So that's why you see, like, you know, we have adapted to that. You know, I think that Chris Bai and Michael Tang do a really good job with their pro shops. They're always posting about the new balls. You see them on the Storm pages. And those are guys that I can relate to because we're like close to like the same age. But there's not a lot of guys that are the same age as like me, Chris, you know, Mikey, that are doing that. And growing up, as you guys know, you know, bowling was all about performance. You got paid by performance. Your job was to make TV shows so you could sell that ball. Now it's not the case like that. I guarantee you that when you see bowling on TV, that's not generating a ton of sales, which is why a lot of the companies have gone to social media influencers that route, because that's where people are watching it. They're watching bowling ball reviews on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. We didn't have all of that to our disposal growing up, where I was like, you know, now I'm like 30 years old, like I said. So I think that promotion and generating sales is way different than what it was, I would say, 15 years ago. And I feel like because that generation wasn't taught to promote yourself, it was to just make TV shows, and that's how you get popular, and that's how people know your name, and that's how we sell bowling balls. That was one way. And then you just had to adapt when you're in this age group, like I said, to now flip the script and be like, well, this is how you actually promote bowling balls, because everybody's on their phone. Everyone always has a phone. Everyone's always on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, and they're looking to buy what is the next hot thing. So
Very good points
I just
there,
think that's
Nate.
why.
Spot on.
But still, shouldn't it then run with the younger crowd then? Because literally that's all they know.
Well, I think it is running with the younger crowd. I just don't think they know how to do it. And that's why, like, I give all the praise to Brad and Kyle, because we would not have anything bowling content if it wasn't for them. They were the first people to blog professional
They break
tournaments.
shit down. They
They were
break down what they paid for the week sometimes, and like their meals. They'll be sitting at a cafeteria and being like, well, I paid this much and I made this much, so I'm minus $84. And it's such a refreshing thing when we the fan can see it.
Yeah. And I apologize if there's anybody out there watching this podcast that maybe did stuff before.
They
Brad and
did
Kyle,
not.
but
Fuck you.
They were the ones more popular, and they were the ones that figured out whatever algorithm was going on, that they were able to attract such an audience over to watch bowling, whether it was the sweeper, whether it was professional tour, ball reviews, you name it. They were like the foundation, and we're just very lucky, to be on that journey as they are, and continuing to grow and continuing to spread. What
and it's proof of exactly what you're saying, Nate, because I have to get my daily dose of hating all over Brad, because it's what I do, even though he's the nicest person in the world. Brad has done nothing at the professional level to earn the popularity that he has. Zero. So just to Rob, that one was for.
Didn't he make a couple? He made a couple TV.
He made a couple TV shows. Yeah. That's what he's done.
Shows, but like his personality speaks for itself, and it's not even just like him trying to be something online. I will say that's my other thing.
Oh, he's
like,
so humble and self-deprecating too. That's a thing.
But he's not afraid to just be himself, because I will say I don't like when I know people in person and I see, I'm not calling anyone out, but there's people online that they put a persona on. I think what makes Brad and Kyle more real is because they are genuinely like they are on camera and off camera. And I think that's where anytime someone asks me, how did you get into social media, or why did you do this, or how do I make a YouTube, I'm like, you don't. You go on and do the stuff that you would want to see. You be yourself. You post the stuff that you would like to see, and the people that like that will come. If you go on chasing clout and you go on chasing numbers, it won't find you. You have to go on social media because it's something that makes you happy. I'm sure you guys see the randomest stuff online and you're like, how is this a thing? How's this popular? It's just because the algorithm fed it to the other people that. And
I love deep rug cleaning.
Yeah, like it's someone that loves rug cleaning.
I've seen that stuff too, but I'm like, I watch it. It's satisfying.
Like, clean that fucking rug, man.
That's why I watch car detailers, like watching them clean like these disgusting cars. It is, or people mow their lawns. It's weirdly satisfying.
You ever watch clogs get unclogged? That's the shit right there.
People watch horses get like their hooves split.
Watch
the incredible
Dr.
Ocho
when they scrape the shit up.
Right.
Love it.
I all the time.
Or cows too, man. Cows need that shit. That's the thing.
That's
like when
awesome.
you get because you get freaking hoof rot. You gotta get in there, freaking spread the gimmick.
So messed up when we're done with this.
Oh yeah, because it's listening right now.
I'm gonna have.
But my point with those, it's someone who enjoyed doing that, who was just posting it because they liked it, and they didn't even probably think it was going to be popular. And I feel like it's the same thing with anything. It's like if you enjoy it, the people will come, but you can't be on there being like, I want to be popular. I want this, I want that. You have to do what you love, and the people will find you. And I will say that's why I think Brad and Kyle have been as successful as they have been and have stayed relevant, is because they are genuinely the same people on and off camera. There's nothing fake about anything they do. They're not trying to be Brad and Kyle on camera and then different off the lanes. That is just who they are. And I think that that's why it worked for them and has continued to work.
I will call somebody out because I think he's fake, and that's Kevin Williams. And you guys don't have to respond to that at all. That's just my personal opinion. I think Packy is more humble than Kevin. Yeah, Ocho, I'll tell you later. But
Packy seems like a fun guy.
No, Packy is a fun guy. The other guy, not so much. Anyway, so what? No, Elise made a great point. Doing what you love kind of shows.
He just mouthed, "Oh my god!"
Real quick, hang on. Just want to throw this out there. Rob just went out of nowhere to say he hates Kevin Williams.
Yeah, fuck him. He's never gonna be on the show.
And then just went to the next topic. He just went. Fuck you, Kevin Williams.
Why does Rob get to decide who's on the show and not?
Meanwhile, the severed head was found in the elevator shaft.
And I just see the most drastic, oh my god, lip read that I've seen from Long Nate. And holy, so what the fuck? Are we unfettered now? Finally,
we've always been unfettered.
by the looks
Or
of
did
it,
Rob just fuck everything up?
No, by the looks of
I
it,
don't
Nate
care.
is either best friends with Kevin and is messaging him right now saying, "Bro, you got to say right now."
I'm not friends
Fuck
with
Rad
Kevin.
Rob.
Me and Kevin.
Or Kevin has Rob's neck, maybe. That could be it too.
All I have to say
Me and
is
Kevin have a great relationship.
majority of people that are online are fake. That's all
Of
I'll
course.
say. That's what I'll say to that.
Why can't people be
You are
real
correct, man.
and just show their real image and just be themselves? I don't understand that shit. Just be real with
But
yourself.
it's not even the person. It's how much they say they work hard at the sport. That it's like everything. It's not just. It's like it's the whole thing is fake of being the professional athlete on both sides.
I'll tell you,
That's what I have to say.
not a lot of things piss me off, but I will tell you one thing that's really starting to grind my gears is EJ's wave. I can't take.
Oh, okay.
I can't take there's a trash can. I can't take the thing.
After every dude, I swear, dude, you're joking, right? That's
Like,
after
EJ,
every throw, he
there's
does the wave.
Somebody's
Why
got to
did
make
that
a video.
start?
Somebody's got to make a video where it's like, EJ, get that fly off your shoulder.
After every throw, he does the wave gimmick.
Yeah.
Well, when you strike every time, you're gonna wave to the crowd.
does it
Or put like a basketball hoop off to the side, so and this swish. It's driving me crazy.
Dude, I thought I was alone. I thought you guys knew something I didn't because I'm an amateur. What the? Oh my god.
Well, I literally just had this conversation with someone at Queens about it. I don't remember how it came up, but it reminds me of it. I don't know if you saw the thing. Someone posted. What? Oh, okay. Whatever. Did you see the meme where someone's like after one of his shows, it's like drink every time EJ waves to the crowd? That
Oh,
was
yeah.
But,
my favorite.
but the problem is he doesn't even do it in his shot. He just goes like this.
So he does it because he was saying that it's like in golf where after you make a shot, they wave to like someone in the crowd that showed them appreciation. He says every single time, like we obviously don't see it on TV, but there's always someone like screaming his name, something. So he does it as a sign of
I'd rather him
appreciation.
do like the
to
whole
those-
like Ricky Henderson or fucking like point up like this.
We'll just do it once in a while. Like everybody's cheering Duke.
Yeah,
Every
right. Well, fucking Norm Duke was gonna have an arm
Norm
cramp.
Duke would turn
in
around,
5
look at the
minutes.
crowd, and give like a little half a head nod. Give like the Mike Albee golf clap. Don't give me the
Duke would have bursitis in one game.
elevated arm with the trajectory. I don't like the trajectory.
You know
of
what?
the
You know what? Let's
I
change
don't
it to
like
the
where
wink
it's
in the
going.
gun.
I don't.
EJ needs to do the wink in the gun.
He needs to get rid of it.
I think now it's just a habit because he's done it to,
No, you know what?
show.
Hashtag wink in the gun.
Yeah. John, you should quit smoking cigarettes. Well, you know what? When EJ stops waving every time he strikes, then I'll stop smoking. And now you understand the power of addiction.
By the way, Bug's in the house, and Bug says stay humble, and he is one of the most humble people we all know, and we
He's
love.
talking about me, but that's all right. Never gonna
We love
happen.
the Bugs.
We love Bug, and he's one of the most genuine people out. See, just
You
like
see
y'all.
what shadows do? You see what shadows and lighting does?
I'm not saying everybody in the league sucks. I just pointed out one person that I don't particularly care for. I mean, that's all I did. So
It's okay, right?
I'll say
Look, if Nate didn't do the freaking visual, oh my god, right on camera, I wouldn't think anything of it. But like, he literally put his mouth to the camera and did, oh my god.
Hey, we all have our own likes and dislikes.
Well, meanwhile, for me, when you mentioned that, I was just confused because he hangs out with a really good group of guys. I like his music. I've never actually spoken to Kevin before, but I've heard he's actually a very nice dude. So I just was kind of shocked by
we will never know. But.
your poetic entry into your hatred.
Oh, the guy for the Ravens?
Like I said earlier in the show, some people just have different tastes.
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
Anyway,
I'm still bitching.
How do I segue from that? Let's wrap it up with. I want to talk about what Verity posted last week on her Facebook page about fan access and
Rob, if you don't mind, let me answer first because I do have to dip out a little bit early. So while you're finding that, let me just say to Nate and Elise, as always, pleasure having you guys here. Elise, continued recovery success, and love you and wishing you the best. Nate, always here, bro. Love you like a brother, and keep working every single day, dude. You guys both look great. Go ahead, Rob.
All right.
Thank
Putting
you.
it out there, and I appreciate that, John. Verity posted, I'm sharing this today because I think it's important. As bowlers, we're lucky to have such close connections with our fans. That support means so much. But with that closeness, sometimes the lines get blurry and boundaries aren't always well defined. I'll be honest, this is something I personally struggle with. At times, I may only get one brief interaction with you, and I absolutely want it to be a good one. I want to show gratitude because I genuinely appreciate everyone who supports bowling in what we do out there. But I'm also a competitor. When I'm in the middle of a tournament, I'm not always in the best headspace for a chat or a photo. I might be trying to stay focused, managing frustration, or mentally preparing for the next shot. Even afterward, I may be dealing with equipment, processing the result, or simply needing a moment to decompress. It's never about ignoring anyone. It's about doing my job the best I can and protecting the mental space I need to perform. I hope you can understand that, and I hope you still feel how much I value the support, even if it doesn't always come with a smile. And this is this is the other screenshot that she posted from a fan that reached out and messaged her on Twitter or Facebook. I think it was Facebook, and said, Verity, I'm a longtime fan, and I've interacted with you on this site several times in the past. I was there to watch both sets yesterday and said hello to you twice as you walked past me. The first time I got a quick glance back after you were past me, and the second time I didn't even get a response or a look. I know how you usually interact with your fans, but I found yesterday very disappointing, to which she answered, sorry if you felt ignored. That was never my intention. When I'm in the middle of competition, I'm completely focused on my performance, as it's part of my job to give 100% to what I'm doing on the lanes. Afterward, I may have been busy sorting out equipment or debriefing. I always appreciate the support. I hope you can understand that my priority during events is to stay locked in and do my best. Thanks for understanding. You both are pros. You both are in the public spotlight. Whoever wants to go first.
Well, I already asked you for it, so I'm going to go first.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, John. My bad.
All right. First off, John Urasek, we should change his last name to You're a Dick. And he is by far the imbecile of the week, because anybody after that beautiful message that Verity wrote that she did by no means have to, did it out of the kindness of her heart, and flat out just answered exactly why she may not give you the time of day. That piece of shit has the fucking balls to go on there and then say, hey, by the way, you should have
the rebuttal. Fuck you, you fucking motherfucker.
And now she's going to go out of her way to be polite and respond to him again. John, I wish I knew you so I could never say hi to you. But as far as what Verity said, Verity basically wrote what I'm assuming Pete Weber would have written in 1989 or 88 moving forward until the present, had he had social media available to him. Because that's why so many people grew up hating Pete Weber. Oh, he's such an asshole to fans. You know, he swats markers out of kids' hands for an autograph. He doesn't talk to anybody. It's like, no, you're just hearing the incidents about when he probably just went big four to miss the show. And on his way back to the paddock, as he's about to throw one bag out the side of the building and the other three through the wall, you decided to say, hey, Pete, remember when I bowled you at a Pro-Am in San Diego in 1992? I beat you. No, that's not the best time to bring up that story to Pete.
That's so good. And I beat you.
Yeah, so like
that's so
Verity,
good.
I think what Verity wrote was very, very classy. I don't think that that she needed to.
For one, that made it worse. It sucks, because then it means like you're answering to these fucking lowly fucks.
Right.
But
you're answering to people who are just ignorant.
Don't even deserve it.
There's really, if you answer to one ignorant person, you're going to have to answer to more of them. You're setting yourself up for a lot of headaches. I would rather have those people say, yeah, that guy's a dick. He didn't say hi to me. So that way the person he just told I was a dick to can leave and say, so that guy I was just talking to hates people for not saying hi. He's probably got a real nice life.
Hold on.
It's not even worth your time, man.
Hold on. I like what Alex said. I wonder how PB3 would politely tell someone to go eat a bag of dicks.
I'll close before I leave with a great quick story about that. I'm watching Pete Weber bowl the Touring Players Championship at Stonehenge Family Fun Center in Akron, Ohio, 1997. And he gets done bowling the second block, and he's leading qualifying. He's averaging just under 250.
Is this right when ABC is about to go down, basically?
I'm sorry, it was 1998. It was already on.
All right, okay, all right.
And he's about 300 pins ahead of second. And he's walking to the locker room, and some guy in the back says, "Man, Parker, you're looking good out there. Left must be really good this week." Being a real asshole talking about the left. And Parker stopped with his 3-ball roller. I was sitting on the bleachers behind him, and Parker turned around and he goes, "Hey, you're left-handed too, aren't you? I saw you bowl in the Pro-Am last night." And he goes, "Yeah, that's right." And Parker goes, "Well, then thank God you didn't bowl the tournament, because if you'd have bowled, I'd have not been in first by 300. I'd be in second by 200. Pats him and walks away.
Dude,
That's how Parker is a dick.
that's perfect.
Basically takes the ignorance and blows it up to the point that even the guy feels like a piece of shit.
And let the asshole think about it.
Right, exactly.
That's perfect.
So, yeah, but that's I remember that like it was yesterday, because I was 14 years old and like at the start of my dickness years. So I was just like, "Oh yeah, you tell him, Parker. You tell that piece of shit."
And you were left-handed.
I love that.
Right. All right, but guys, anyway, I gotta go. Got to take care of Evelyn. So love you guys, and we'll be back. I'll be back next week.
Of course you will. It's Johnny. See you, buddy.
Later.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, y'all. You want to tackle that real quick before we leave?
Yeah, I think that Verity answered it very professionally, and I don't think that her intent was at all malicious. I think that our sport has a problem with, it's not necessarily a problem, but it was never a defined line of how close fans can be to the professionals. I don't think there's any other sport that you can go to that doesn't have a line where it's, this is the professional
There's no barriers,
space,
man. They'll walk right up on you.
You're not going to go to a basketball game and you're not going to go up and say, "Hey, LeBron, what's up, man? Like, how's it going?" Like, in bowling, you can do that. In basketball and tennis and golf, there's boundaries. You can't go in a certain section no matter who you are. And I just think that that line is very blurred, causing some issues like this to occur in our sport. And we encourage, the fans to come and say hi to us, and that's no problem. But there also needs to be a time where we're working, and then like once we're done working, then we'll go and shake hands and do whatever you want. But there have been some times in my career where maybe I haven't been the most pleasant, and I've never made anybody feel uncomfortable or a certain type of way, because I know they're just doing it out of the kindness of their heart. But there has definitely been times where I've either flagged a spare in the 10th or I opened and something like that happens and someone wants to talk to me, and I'm like, I really don't want to talk to you right now, but I give them the time of day and then I walk, because I don't want to be rude, but there is that point where you have to manage your emotions, and then you have to deal with that kind of situation. So I just feel like if we all could just be a little bit better and more considerate, that we are bowling not just to put on entertainment for everybody else, but is because it's our job and that's the way we make a living, to just be respectful and just figure out a proper time when to approach somebody.
Elise, your thoughts on that?
I was thinking about it because I have like a couple different thoughts on both sides, because I do agree with Nate. It's hard that we don't have that boundary. But I guess also because I am a little bit more invested in all of the social media. So I guess I have a little bit more following where, I'll have the people that follow me from Facebook, and then we have the people from YouTube. So I think because I have that a little bit more of like a widespread fan base, that, I see it as like my parents always told me, you only get one time to make an impression on someone. And unfortunately in bowling, we're in that space where like, if I invite people to come out and watch me bowl, I already understand kind of that, whether they want to say quickly hi, like while I'm passing by, like I kind of like put that on myself being in the public eye and being like, "Hey, come watch us bowl," because in reality, I know I'm not in the bowling center all day, or we don't have like meet and greets. So I kind of already know, putting myself in that place, that someone's either going to say something to me while I'm bowling, after a block. I'm only in the center for so long when I'm not bowling. So that's kind of my perspective on it. There's a privilege of being online, and you can choose to use that privilege and you can choose not to. So my thing is like, obviously Verity's very heavily online. So I think that she is right where it's like, she's out there to bowl. But again, I know all of us, we're not in the bowling center for longer than an hour after we're done bowling, or we're only there an hour before. And before, obviously, we are just, getting ready, and the pro-ams, they don't always use us, or we're not in the building. So if someone wanted to meet you from that city, they only get so many opportunities. And for me, again, like, especially with the problem we have with not having the viewership, I kind of like just kind of eat it sometimes, where I'm like, I want to meet everyone. And even if I'm not in the best mood, I try to just take the time to at least say hi, or, after I'm done bowling, if I see someone, like I got done in Cleveland actually, and I saw some people staring at me, and I could just tell. And even though I obviously had a lot on my mind, I was like, you know what, I need to make this space to give them the chance to say hi, because they might never get another chance to say hi. So it's one of those, if you choose to be in the public eye, you just kind of have to understand the way our sport is, that there's only so many opportunities that person came out and will have a chance to say hi to her. And I know that's tough, but it's one of those that, I've had to learn when I'm really not, especially even watching Nate. Sometimes I'll be just like trying to watch him, and I know people want to say hi, and I might be in a really, really bad mood. But if I really don't want to speak to people because I need some space for myself, I'll go sit in the car. I don't want to put them in the position to where,
It's a bad experience.
It's a bad experience for them. It's the same thing as being like a high celebrity. Justin Bieber knows he can't just walk down the street, because he's going to deal with that. He's going to stay at home. So you kind of have to understand, like, being in the social aspect, and especially in our sport, that's going to happen, and it sucks on both sides. But the fans obviously need to respect that. But I feel like there's that line of, like, to me, it's not that hard to just say hi really quick. And that's just me. I'm a different type of person, because I just want that person to come back and watch us bowl. And it's hard because we are competing. So that's my perspective, is like, if you are on the internet, you kind of know what comes with being on the internet.
Well, I mean, I didn't get offended when you ignored me for the first half hour after I was sitting there talking to your husband. So, I mean, there's that.
And genuinely, even then, I felt bad, but I was like in such a place. But that's my point.
Yeah.
It's like, if I know that someone is probably back there wanting to talk to me, I would just avoid it. Like, as much as I can, or like, I know that sounds bad, but it's like, it's just hard, because
it's your job. I mean, you're working, essentially. I mean, you can't just walk into Ocho's office at work and say, "Hey, Ocho, what are you doing today?"
Yeah. But then it's like maybe one of those where, like, in Verity's case or someone else's case, that you kind of just realize, like, when you're done, whether it's good or bad, like, you have to carve out some time. Like, you just kind of know it. Like, I know Simo actually said it best one time. Like, he wasn't picked for a pro-am for some reason, and he came back to the center just because he knew people were going to be there for him. And he didn't have to do that. But he's like, I'm Simo, and I know people are going to want my autograph. And, he came back just to walk around for a little bit, 20 minutes, just so people could see him and say hi. I just think it comes with the territory of, being online. You have that bigger fan base where, to me, whether I bowl good or bad, I just know I'm going to carve out 15, 20 minutes to see who's waiting around, or who wants to say something, who might have tried to say hi to me earlier, but might have still stuck around. So that way, again, they can get that interaction that they feel that they get from you every day when they see you online.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. I just think the guy that was reaching out to Verity I don't want to say, I mean, it's creepy. You get your fair share of creepers every day. You post something on your social media, but
it's like you got the
it is like,
and you're going further and further. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I've gone about that even on my reels. Like, obviously I post a lot of the new stuff coming out, I post a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of comments, and I try not to spend a lot of my time online. Even though I personally post online, I don't really scroll a lot. I have a lot going on, especially with my dad and everything, and our travel schedule, that I've had comment like that, where someone's like, I comment all the time on your stuff, and I see you coming back to other people and this and that. And it's like, so it's hard, because I've seen it online too, where it's like, hey, like, I comment back to every comment. And I don't have a social media team. It's me. And so it's hard, because these people feel like they know us online, and it's just, like I said, it's part of the territory. That you're going to get those people that don't understand that they don't know you, even though we want them to feel like they're a part of our lives and this and that. There's just some people that don't realize like you're a person. It's just like when I post something that's not bowling, they're like, I get these comments like, is this a bowling page? And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it just says my name.
Right.
It doesn't say Elise Bolton bowling page. It says my name. And that's what my page has always been. It's just my life. So I feel like it's just people that don't understand the internet is the internet. And I can post whatever I want, whether I bowl, you know, I'm cooking something, if I'm at the beach, like it's just the internet. There's nothing more to it.
Belmo touched on it. He was on Bowling with the Fef last week. If you guys haven't checked out, it's also a fantastic show. I was a guest on his show. Belmo said that he wishes there was time allotted before the events start to where you could have a meet and greet. Say, hey, this is where you're going to be. This is how long you're going to be there, and give the fans time to meet Simo, Belmo, Kyle, EJ, whoever else. And again, the Pro-Ams does a great job of that as well, getting to meet and bowl with your favorite stars. But he also said maybe there should be some kind of a barrier, like maybe like a rope or something that you can't cross. That way, at least the fans know, hey, I'm here, I'm working, don't mess with me. When I come over to your side, then we can chat. But until then, let us do our job. Let us kind of stay in the zone, because you're walking down the concourse, going to the bathroom, and 15 people want to stop you. And you're like, I only got, 10 minutes between squads or whatever. Like, it's just, there is no set boundary. Like you said, where there isn't baseball and basketball and hockey and all that. And maybe the PBA should do something about that. But to your point as well, that may be the only time somebody could ever see you guys or ever see one of the pros out there. And they only come here once a year, or I haven't been able to come in a few years. You never know if they're going to get injured, if they can't, this is my favorite bowler, I want to meet them. It's just like, if I've met several wrestlers, because I've been a big wrestling fan my whole life, and there's been some dicks that I've run into because they're probably having a bad day. And there's been some really nice people too that you probably wouldn't expect. But that's as a fan, that's that is my only chance. I may never ever see this person again. So there is kind of a fine line that both fan and pro has to walk. But you should respect somebody and not say, hey, I said hi to you and you didn't say hi back. Like, what the fuck? That's creepy. That's stupid. I would never have the balls, as much as I say in the show, to disrespect somebody like that, to say like, oh, except for Kevin, fuck him. But to say that I would never complain because I saw EJ somewhere and he didn't say hi to me. There's obviously several reasons why he didn't.
Yeah. And like I said, it comes, and then again, you have EJ, who he just bowls. He's not really on social media, so he's just bowling. He's not inviting, everyone knows him because he's a good bowler, but he's not. And this isn't no diss to Verity. This is anyone who's online, where it's like, if you're inviting, you're posting all the time, you want the interactions from everyone. Like, again, I just think it comes with the territory that you have to understand. Like, if you want to be what we would consider a social media influencer in our industry, that yes, it's tough, but like I said, for me, I'm just a little bit different. If I if someone does try to say hi to me, even if it's creepy, I really try to give them, even like if it's 3 seconds, and then I'm myself, and then I'm like, hey, I gotta go. Like, sometimes you just have to do that. Again, it comes with the territory. Where, because I'm online, again, if I wasn't online, people probably wouldn't know who I am, because I'm not making all these TV shows. I'm not winning major titles. Same thing with Nate. Like, people would probably know who he is in the regional side, but we understand with the territory and inviting people into our lives, that when we are in public in general, actually, we had people run into us in the Las Vegas airport. We were literally sitting there editing a video, and we were just like having our day, like, and two random people, one of them knew me from Facebook and one of them knew both of us from YouTube, not really like avid bowlers, but they're like, oh my God, like, you guys are here, and it's like, it just comes with the territory. But even us, like, little people in the bowling world, like, it happens in a public space where we are just trying to mind our own business. Like I said, if you're online, you just have to understand that you're going to get those creeps. Someone's not going to be happy, but again,
you can't please everyone at the end of the day.
You can't please everyone, but again, in that moment, it's hard to also understand how he took it. Maybe she did say hi, maybe she did, but he did. It wasn't enough for him.
Sure.
So there's also the two sides. Like if he wanted a full conversation, like of course she didn't have time for a full conversation. So it's one of those where it's like the perspective of what it was.
I get that. Well, look, I always love having both of you on the show. You're two of my favorite people. You're both well spoken, articulate, intelligent, entertaining, engaging, and both of you are great for the sport. And we need more bowlers like you that love the sport and that want to do what they can to get more awareness of not only who you are as bowler, as professionals, but as people as well. And I do like, and I'm glad that like Belmo and Darren Tang and Packy and all them, Kevin have done stuff like that. But it's always nice to see a different side of people. I like the fact that you guys vlog. I like the fact that you don't just post stuff on bowling. You try to let people get a peek behind the curtain and see who you are as people. I wish we've been saying this since day one, Oach. We wish the PBA would do more of that. We wish they could have more TV time to feature.
Learn the story. Learn the story behind it. That's what you get.
Why should I be rooting for this person? Why should I have a vested interest in these people?
That just goes back to how we were talking about promotion. You always see those, like, I'm not saying it's got to be a full documentary, but like you see those 30 for 30s. You see the interviews before the national championship game a week prior in football. You see the interviews with NBA finals. You see the interviews before the Super Bowl. Like, it doesn't have to be high production. It's just got to, be a person sitting across from you with a camera, and you just, ask the questions. I mean, that's all it is. I get the post interviews and the pre interviews. I get all that stuff that we do. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect in my production process, but if we really want to do something, all it takes is a little bit of studying, and you can get good at it, and you just watch things like that, and the PBA can learn something from that, or whoever is working that position. So,
well, there's no. I want to say there is a great reason why your channel has grown as organically as it has. Is because you two are genuine people, and if you go to some of your early videos as opposed to now, your production is massively ahead of where it used to be. So I mean,
well, we were filming potato before.
Yeah, we live and learn. So.
Right, but I'm glad you guys put the effort in.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people, like I've said this, I don't know if I've said it on here, but like I actually went to school for stuff like that. So the whole reason why we started the channel was because I just wanted to kind of like, I had just been invested in bowling and doing stuff. I was like, you know what, I kind of want to go back and start doing stuff that I went to school for, and like just kind of get my feet wet in that. And if I want to use it as like a job type of thing, like as a resume, that's really why I channel. I was like, I just want to get into video editing again, and I want to get into the creative process. And, I'm like, we already bowl. So, that was just, it made sense. And I think that's also why our channel has grown, is because I've always just wanted to push boundaries that would seem so crazy for our industry, but I see it happening in other industries. And I feel like we did that on our channel when we're like, we're not going to edit out this. If we make a mistake, we're going to leave it in there, because those are the jokes that have now been like going on our channel where, I can't say the name of the balls right, or, me and Nate just like arguing on the video. Like, we just leave that in there because it's like, that's what people watch reality TV for. And I feel like until me and Nate did that, there wasn't that in our industry where people were just not afraid to show the genuine side of like their relationship or their life. And Nate would even sometimes be like, should we edit that out? I'm like, no, because that's the stuff I would want to see. Like, it builds the characters on the show. And that's how I looked at it. It's like, we are the Keeping Up with the Kardashians of bowling. Like, I know that sounds dumb, but I'm like, it's the dumb stuff that keeps you coming back.
That's true. That's why people come back to this show, right, Oach?
Exactly.
Guys, check out Nate and Elise on YouTube. They're up to 31,000 subscribers.
We just posted.
Yeah, you did. You just posted a video on the Storm Ion Pro Solid versus Ion Pro. There's also a great video of Elise beating AJ Rice. That's always fun to watch.
Check that out.
I also beat Brandon they want to check that out too.
That's true. You did. But no, they have a great channel and they're great people. Check them out on YouTube. Again, Nate and Elise. Couples that bowl together, stay together. I love that. And that's true. And they do argue in public too, as well, especially about sums and
Yep, she beats me.
Get it if Nate kisses me off.
She beats me.
Anything you guys want to plug other than the channel or anything you got going on or coming up? I'll give you the floor.
That guy over there, all the way down in the bottom right of the screen, huge supporter of our channel and obviously your guys' podcast, Fat Boy Waffles. They're absolutely amazing. I love Eric and what he's done for the channel, and he's also an absolutely fantastic person. If you guys want to get brand new bowling balls before anybody else, or those overseas bowling balls but you don't want to pay a premium, go over to Fat Boy Waffles over on the Facebook page. They do a fantastic job, and you can get in those giveaways for as little as $5.
We've had a lot of subscribers that have won like right after they went over there. So
that's awesome. Yeah, no, Eric's awesome. I frequent his Facebook channel quite often. He does giveaways all the time. Great dude, always entertaining as fuck too. So, but is a genuinely nice guy. Yes, Fat Boy Waffles. Check them out. What do you got coming up bowling wise?
I think I'm bowling US Open as of right now. It just depends on what's going on with my dad. So I have that coming up in a couple days. I think like 6 days I'd have to leave. So it's
got regionals on the schedule, got tournaments this weekend. We'll be live streaming this weekend for a couple tournaments. I'm bowling and doubles on Sunday and a high roller on Saturday. Just regionals throughout the year. We got Paris on the schedule.
Cruises.
Battle Bowl coming up in August, October. This Nightmare Doubles on bowling. And we just got a bunch of tournaments.
We might be bowling the Lucy together now because my partner can't bowl anymore. So everyone who wants to watch that shit show, we might be there at the end of July. Fun time to watch Nate and Elise bowl together.
Maybe not, but we'll see.
We'll see. that would be something to see for sure. And hopefully, I think it's October when the PWBA comes to Smyrna, Tennessee. So I get a chance to see you guys again. If you happen to bowl that'd be cool. We'll definitely hook up for that.
Yeah, I've looked at that. I'm gonna see. It's hard to get around for 1-day events. It's a little tough.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But might be doing that. Oh yeah, we're giving away a ball if we get to 33,000 subscribers by July. I'm in a race with someone, so if anyone wants to go like that and we get to 33,000 on YouTube, much appreciated. We will be giving away bowling ball. Yeah, video. So
I guess I'm giving away a bowling
ball.
I guess you're giving away a ball. Definitely go subscribe right now. Stop what you're doing.
Subscribe right now. 33,000. We're giving away a ball.
And once you hit 32,000, Nate's gonna do one of these.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Watch the subs number jump.
You probably would get more subs if Nate did some bikini bowling, bikini briefs. That would be I'd watch that. I'm just saying.
Oh, Rob would watch that. That's just
take it out of your guys' budget. Send me a check, and I'll do it in the next.
We get 0.08 cents. What do that get you?
Yeah, not much. Guys, thanks for being here. Appreciate you as always. Good luck the rest of the year. And I'll stay in touch with you guys. But have fun with your travels as well. I heard France they don't really like Americans over there that much. So hopefully you guys will
the bowling
survive.
center bowl. So
they do not like
it's going to be a quick trip. Go over there.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Always a pleasure. And look at the guns. And we'll see you guys next time. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys. Thanks for having us.
Well, Oach, Johnny's not here, but another great show as always.
Betcha.
Two of our favorite people. Again, they're just great for the sport, and we need more people.
I'm one of my favorite people, so I gotta do.
Well, we know that, and I know you got daddy duty, so we will wrap it up here for this week. I don't know what's going on for next week. I don't have a guest yet. Look, Ocho knows I suck at what I do.
My nose and his neck.
I don't have a plan. I just kind of wing it. I texted Nate a few days ago and said, "Hey, you want to be on the show this week?" Sure. And I don't think he told Elise for a couple days.
Next week, Nate and Elise. Here we go. Long-time friends of the show. They're going to be on next week. Here we go.
Larry Lichstein definitely has to come back on the show. We were going to have him on before we took our month hiatus, so I got to get back in touch with Larry Legend. The Legend.
Get your hiatal hernia set up, and then we're going to be good to go.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I'll refer to you in that department since you're the resident doctor. I know you're a specialist of all things.
Apparently only on this channel. Go figure.
Yeah, go figure on that. So we're working on. I'm working on Daria. I got to get back with her.
Easy.
I'm gonna email her this week and try to get her on the show as well. You never know who's gonna pop up on Straight Up 5. But we do appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. For this,
thank everybody.
Do you have to talk over me as well?
Thank everybody. No, somebody wrote it in, so I just figured I'd reiterate it because
that's fair.
You glossed it.
No, that's fair. Anyway, Yankees suck. Good night, everybody. Fuck you, Kevin Williams, and we'll see you guys.
Oh, I like that guy, by the way. Fuck Rob.
That's fair. We'll see you guys next week. I'm gonna hit the outro now. Say good night, Ocho.
Good night, Ocho.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. You can follow the show on Twitter at Straight Up 5 Pod. Follow Johnny Jr. at JPJR07. Follow Rad Rob at Rad Rob Gaming. And follow Dr. Ocho at the Dr. Ocho. Got a question for Johnny? Send your questions to straightup5podcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Right here